AgriLevante hosted an interesting workshop attended by two speakers. And the title was Agriculture in North Africa, Characteristics, Potential, and Technological Needs. Mara Semeraro from Siambari and Gianfranco Belgrano, editorial director of Africa Affari. Topic was agriculture in North Africa. We know that agriculture is a challenge in North Africa, but thanks to irrigation, to the use of the latest agricultural technologies, it's possible to grow specific crop varieties. This was the topic discussed today at AgriLevante 7th edition. However, can you tell us the role of your institute? Siambari is an international governmental organization which works in the field of cooperation, education, training, and research in agriculture. We work in North African countries, sub-Saharan countries, and we address all the topics in the field of agriculture, which also respond to the 2030 Agenda and SDGs. Precision agriculture, protection biodiversity, innovation, food safety, and the quality of food products. Belgrano, Africa Affari is a monthly journal. What is it about? We were founded 10 years ago, and we try to read what happens in Africa, and that can be useful for Italian entrepreneurs, for decision makers as well. We follow events in Africa in the field, in the political field, in the field of economy, and we transfer the message to the Italian audience. There's an Africa which is told by the media mainstream, but there is also another kind of Africa which is much more dynamic, which is growing, that we try to tell every month. In my introduction, I mentioned the problem of drought, that thanks to the new technologies and to different approaches has been in part solved, but not everywhere. Can you give us a more precise view about agriculture in North Africa? So, well, let's say that water is a critical issue. It's one of the most important critical issues in North African countries, and it's important to manage the water which is available in the various countries. Technologies help, no doubt about it. Precision agriculture helps irrigate. Irrigation is applied when needed and where needed. It is also interesting to take into account use of treated wastewater. And use of treated wastewater can help reduce the consumption of water that can be destined to households. So this is one of the topics that we usually cover, along with the mechanization of the entire agricultural chain, together with the Federal Coma, because mechanization, because training, education can improve the quality of food products, guarantee the safety of food, because it's important to train people how to use innovative technologies in order to obtain products which are healthier. They're reducing diseases of plants, reducing the diseases affecting livestock, and this guarantees higher agricultural production. And what about your contribution to this workshop, Mr. Belgrano? Well, we try to pave the way to the future about Africa, the role of Africa nowadays, and the world in a few years. The major trends, the mega trends. Trends which are based on figures, on numbers, and numbers which have a specific weight. The first figure regards the population growth in Africa. By 2050, Africa will have 1 billion more inhabitants, from 1.5 billion to 2.5 billion. If we consider the end of the century, the Africans will become 4 billion inhabitants. Same lapse of time in Europe, Europeans will drop in terms of number. In 2050, Europeans will be 5% of the worldwide population, which gives an idea what is going to happen in the medium term. Another important trend is urbanization, urban sprawling in Africa. Entire communities move from villages to cities, to towns that will become larger and larger. If we think of Lagos in Nigeria, with an increase of the population by 500,000 inhabitants, this can give an idea what is happening. And this poses a threat to food security. Africa is the continent which avails of, which hosts the greatest majority of fertile but uncultivated lands. So this is the point, because it is important to grow all the lands in order to increase production. And production can be increased with mechanization, with modern agricultural practices. In order to give an answer to the response, an answer not only to Africa but to the world over. AgriLevante is the heart. The heart of AgriLevante is about agriculture. But you are an expert of Africa through your activity with this monthly journal. But for us, in Italy or in Europe, what would you suggest? What should we think of in the light of this future? Because Africa is so close to us, but we are not really familiar with Africa. Well, we should start and become more familiar with Africa. We know the Africa we are familiar with is the Africa of migrants landing in Lampedusa. But there are other kinds of Africa which are much more dynamic, growing. And from our point of view, we have to figure it out in terms of bridges of dialogue, in terms of partnerships, winning partnerships for Italy and Europe, but also for Africa. This is the way. This is the main way. This is the main way ahead. And also with respect to the main challenges ahead, going from food safety, but also the challenge of climate change. There are areas where we have problems on how to regulate these changes, so problems of flooding, of too much water, as it is the case in the Horn of Africa. The problem is just this. And this too requests skills, technology, sharing of knowledge and partnership. This is the future for Africa, but this is also the future of all of us. Thank you for this interesting food for thought. Thank you so much.